You lost me at Nelson was good. Nelson was good? He stinks! Yo, everybody, how you doing? King Dingbat here. So, today we have come with the hell is that? It's a big ass dog. Dallas still stinks. Yo, everybody, how you doing? King Dingbat here, and I hope everybody's having a great day. The weekend is finally here. I am so glad. I am pumped. You know why I'm pumped? You know why I'm pumped? Because tomorrow, my streams of the Sixers are back. Tomorrow, I'll be streaming Sixers vs. Celtics. Cannot wait. My Sixers stuff kicks off tomorrow. It's going to be fun. Come hang out with me if you want. We're going to be doing a lot of these throughout the rest of the NBA season. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Cannot wait. Now, in this video, I wanted to come on and I wanted to basically do a response to Eagle Speed's video he did the other day. Most of you guys all know who Eagle Speed is. If you don't, for some reason, I'll put the link in the description. Go sub him up. Go sub him up. I have nothing but respect for him. He did a video in which he was calling me and some other Eagle YouTubers out. I don't really look at it as calling me out, because when I think of calling out, I think of you're going after somebody for something wrong, something they did wrong, not for a difference of opinion. So, I mean, I don't think he meant anything by it or anything like that. But I wanted to respond to what he was saying, because he was very passionate about the fact that we should not get a wide receiver in the first round. And before we get into what position we should choose in the first round, we got to remember, when it comes to the actual first round and it comes to the actual draft day, you really, you can say, I want this position, I want that position, but in the first round, you should always take the most talented player on the board. Now, I don't care even what position, 80 to 85% of the time, you need to take the best position available in the first round, because you got to hit on the first rounds. It's very important, and sometimes you just don't know how it's going to fall. Now, that's not all the time. There are exceptions to the rule, of course. But I'd say like 85% of the time, you take the best talent. So if the Eagles are drafting at 21, and there's a receiver on the board, and 2 receivers have gone off the board, maybe 3, but one of the best defensive ends is on there, and you have him ranked higher than anybody else, you got to take him. You got to take him, okay? But you really don't know how that's going to pan out until you actually are holding the draft and you see how the board falls. When I talk about going after certain positions, I'm saying that basically if all these players were equal, according, in their position talent-wise to each other, I would go this position. So if you have a wide receiver and a corner, and they're both similar, talent-wise, ceiling-wise, in that position, you have them ranked about the same, you take the position of need at that point. You take the position that is most important to you, that you need the most. And to me, it would be the wide receiver. Now, one of the things that he opened up saying was, do you think, if you take a receiver in the first round, what you're saying is you think J.J. Arcega-Whiteside is a bust? Is that what you guys are saying? And he was asking that question. And my response to him is this. At this point, he is. At this point, he is. Because, and you'll say, well, he didn't play a lot, and he was a role player, and he didn't get all the chances. But that's because he wasn't good enough to get on the field. He wasn't good enough. He wasn't like the kid in Washington. He wasn't like DK Metcalf. There were so many receivers that were picked after him that were better. Not only that, you have to look at the history of Howie Roseman. And I've done multiple videos on this. You can't discount the history the Eagles have of picking wide receivers in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. You can't do it. So my position is, because the Eagles are so bad at picking a wide receiver from the 2nd round on, and because Howie has done a bad job with it, you have to go for the surest thing you can find, the top talent that you could find. So yes, he at this point, you can't be happy with that pick. Now, I don't think he's necessarily going to be a bust his whole career, but At this point, how can you say he's okay? I feel so confident about him that, as you were saying, Eagle Speed, that you'll draft a guy in the 5th round, a receiver not until maybe the 5th round. This team can't pick a receiver in the 2nd round. Why would I wait to the 5th? Okay? And then the second thing is, Aguilar is good next to Foles? When Foles plays, he's good? You mean to tell me it's Carson Wentz's fault that Aguilar drops the game winner in Atlanta? That he drops the pass in the end zone? He stinks, man. He stinks. And he couldn't go away fast enough. He had one good year. He wasn't even that good in 2018. Yeah. Aguilar showed me, what he showed me this year is that when the pressure's on the line, when you have a contract on the line, you can make big money and you need to make plays and you need to be the man, he can't do it. And that's not Carson Wentz's fault, okay? Because in 2017, for 13 games that Carson played, Aguilar was still having a good season. It wasn't that Foles came in and all of a sudden he could play, okay? He's just not that good. He's just not that good. And then the other thing was, that he was talking about he wants a balanced, or actually he wants a balanced offense. Well, he said, I want a balanced offense, but I also want a team that pounds the ball. And here's the thing. First off, you're not dealing with a coach that is a run-first coach. You are dealing with a coach who wants to throw the ball. So if you have a coach that wants to throw the ball, it only makes sense that you would have wide receivers that can catch the ball. Right? I mean, if you're going to have guys that do one specific thing that your coach wants done more than anything, then you got to have the right guys. You have the right guys. So this hope for a power running game where you lean heavily on the run and Carson's a game manager, it isn't happening. It's not going to happen. That's not realistic. So with it not being realistic, then you have to build the offense around what your coach and what your quarterback are going to do, and that's throw the ball. Okay, and when you talk about a balanced attack, you cannot have a balanced attack if you can't make defenses play the whole field. If you have no outside threats whatsoever, and you can't get a guy to run a pattern more than 15 yards and get open, how are you going to be balanced? That's very imbalanced. And those receivers on the outside are so weak that you cannot have a balanced offense, even if you run the ball 30, 40 times. Teams know it. Just go watch all the teams and how they cheat those safeties up. There were weeks where we wouldn't throw the ball over 20 yards. It's imbalanced. Even if you want to run the ball, right? Even if you were right, Eagle Speed, and you said, all right, we're going to run the ball this many times a game, more than throw, and that's what we're going to do, you still need a deep threat. You still need somebody to take a shot to stretch the field. You know, a balanced attack to me means you can send guys long, you can send guys short, and you can run the ball. You can do it all. And the Eagles can't. They can't. And as far as Alshon going and think, because that was the other thing he mentioned, Alshon's not going anywhere. We know that, right? Alshon's not going anywhere. I don't know that. I don't know that. I can tell you this. If he's as bad as people say in the locker room, and I don't know if he is, they'll find a way. And even if they don't, even if they keep him and Deshaun, what are the chances that these guys are going to play 16 games? Not likely. Okay? Now, where I do agree with you, Eagle Speed, is I agree that you need a lot more help than just receiver. That is true. I agree with you. You need to fix that line. You need to bolster it. But you're not drafting a center in the first round. You need linebacker helps. We know how the Eagles value linebackers. Not very well. Not very well. Then you have the cornerback situation, which is, I'd say by far, probably the worst position on defense. Linebacker is pretty bad right now too. But you need a cornerback. I agree with you. But the chances that you take a corner at 21, he comes right in and he starts the whole year and he shuts down somebody and solves a problem isn't likely. Maybe if you draft top 5 to 10, you can get a corner like that, but it's not very often. Most likely, Most likely what you have to do is you have to go out and sign at least one free agent starter at the cornerback position. This is why we keep hearing about the cornerback leaks coming out. You know, the Eagles are going to pursue one of the corners. We now hear that Logan Ryan is a guy who the Eagles may bring in. I like him. There's some positives and negatives to that. I mean, I kind of like him. I think he's a good player. He is 29 years old. He'll be 29 years old next year. But if you can sign him maybe short term for 2-3 years, something like that, or a 4-year contract with a way out of it, not a lot of money, I would consider it, because he's better than what you have. He could come in, he can play. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. I'm telling you, right now, the Eagles are going to be attached to pretty much every free agent corner, okay? But to think you're going to just draft one in the first round, plug him in, and he's going to shut everybody down, I don't think it's going to happen. Usually it takes some time for these guys to transition. I much rather get a wide receiver, a guy who can impact next year as well as years down the road, and get a corner in the second round, maybe in the third round. You still can do it, but free agency is going to have to be primarily focused on the defense. That's where you got to get guys, because the defense needs guys that come in right now and play. If you keep Alshon and Deshaun, you can bring in a guy like Ruggs or whoever you get in the first round, and you can work him in over a period of time. And here's the other thing: even if J.J. Arcega-Whiteside is good and turns out to be the guy that replaces Alshon, you still need another receiver on the other outside. Even if Greg Ward is going to be that starting caliber slot receiver, which I hope he will be, but I still would have competition for him going into next year. But you still need to replace the outside. You have a 33-year-old and a 31 coming back from a Liz Frank. I don't even think it's close that you need wide receiver help more so than anything. Yes, and you need vertical receivers, not just because you want to pass it 60, 70 times. I'm not talking about run and shoot offense. I'm not even talking about the air raid offense. I'm not even talking about that. I'm with you on running the ball. I'm with you on running the ball and having some sort of balanced attack. I am. But you need to be able to stretch the field. You need receivers that better suit the kind of quarterback you have, which is Carson. And to be honest with you, a guy like Deshaun Jackson is a much better fit than a guy like Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon Jeffrey is not the 2017 Alshon Jeffrey. He just wasn't. And then the other thing is I talked about possibility of listening to offers to Ertz, to trading Ertz, and I still would, personally. I'm not saying I would do it, but I would. But to not draft a wide receiver, not get a wide receiver, wait till the 5th round, pretty much fix your defense and your offensive line, and then trade Zach Ertz, which is what Eagle Speed suggested to do. Also, you're now giving up your best weapon, and you're not replacing it with any new weapons. I think your offense would be horrendous. It would be a disaster. And I don't think you can rebuild the defense through the draft in 1 year. The draft, that's great 2-3 years down the road, but next year you're going to have a problem. I think the thing to do is to go heavy free agency or aim free agency mostly at defense, with sprinkle in some offense here and there. And then the draft, you focus on offense, and you sprinkle in some defense here and there. Get a corner, get a safety, get a linebacker. You got 10 picks. But I can't agree. I can't agree that taking a wide receiver in the first round is a bad thing. I'm so convinced it's the right thing to do. It's not even funny. Secondly, I don't think it's nuts at all to want a wide receiver. I think it's stupid not to, because the best player on your team, your franchise player, is your quarterback. Like him or not, okay? All right, maybe some Foles and society members don't like him, but like him or not, he's the guy, and you better give him weapons, because you could fix the offensive line. Okay, but what are you going to hold blocks for 7-8 seconds because J.J. Arcega-Whiteside takes an hour to run 30 yards downfield? I don't get it, man. So I respect Eagle Speed. I respect his football opinions and his views, but I couldn't disagree more. I disagree. I'm on the complete opposite side of the world. when it comes to this. You gotta get better on the outside. You gotta get more playmakers. You got offensively and defensively, and you gotta get guys that can stretch the field, because in stretching the field and having an outside presence with some speed that can get downfield will create a better balanced attack, especially in the passing game and the running game. And oh, by the way, the reason the Eagles beat the Bills and they beat the Packers running the ball was because that's how you beat those teams. Just like the San Francisco 49ers threw 8 times the whole game because the Packers can't stop the run. Well, guess what? It's not like that for most of the other teams in the league. Most teams can decently stop the run, but some of them can play the pass better, some can play the run better. You have to be able to switch it up when you need to. So that's my thoughts and opinion, and that's my response, and why I am convinced the Eagles need a receiver in the first round. With that said, take care. Talk to you later, and don't be a dingbat.